Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel English Grammar for You. I hope you have enjoyed the previous video. Please continue to watch.
King Lear of Britain, being aged, comes to a decision to retire from the kingship and as a consequence divides his realm amongst his 3 daughters, and publicizes he goes to offer the largest percentage to the most effective who loves him maximum. The eldest, Goneril, speaks first, keeping her love for her father in fulsome phrases. Moved via her flattery, Lear proceeds to supply to Goneril her percentage as soon as she has finished her announcement, in advance than Regan and Cordelia have a chance to speak. He then awards to Regan her percent as quickly as she has spoken, when it's miles sooner or later the flip of his youngest and favored daughter, Cordelia. At the beginning she refuses to mention something, after which publicizes there can be nothing to assess her want to, nor phrases to properly express it. She speaks in reality however bluntly, which infuriates him. In his anger, he disinherits Cordelia and divides her share amongst Regan and Goneril. The Earl of Gloucester and the Earl of Kent have a take a look at that. Via dividing his realm among Goneril and Regan, Lear has provided his realm in equal stocks to the peerages of the Duke of Albany and the Duke of Cornwall. Kent objects to Lear's unfair remedy of Cordelia. Enraged via Kent's protests, Lear banishes him from America. Lear then summons the Duke of Burgundy and the King of France, who've ever proposed marriage to Cordelia. Learning that Cordelia has been disinherited, the Duke of Burgundy withdraws his in shape, but the King of France is inspired by using way of her honesty and marries her nonetheless. The King of France is taken aback by Lear's selection due to the reality up until this time Lear has handiest praised and favored Cordelia. Meanwhile, Gloucester has delivered his illegitimate son Edmund to Kent. Lear pronounces he will stay alternately with Goneril and Regan, and their husbands. He reserves to himself a retinue of 100 knights, to be supported via his daughters. Goneril and Regan speak privately, revealing that their declarations of love were faux and that they view Lear as a silly vintage guy. Edmund resents his illegitimate reputation, and plots to eliminate his legitimate older brother Edgar. He hints their father Gloucester with a stable letter, making him anticipate Edgar plans to usurp the property. Kent returns from exile in cover, and Lear hires him as a servant. At Albany and Goneril's house, Lear and Kent have a quarrel with Oswald, Goneril's steward. Lear discovers that now that Goneril has an alternate in her behavior, she does not recognize him. She orders him to reduce the big sword of his disorderly retinue. Enraged, Lear departs for Regan's domestic. The fool mocks Lear's misfortune. Edmund learns from Curran, a courtier, that there can be probably to be conflict amongst Albany and Cornwall, and that Regan and Cornwall are to reach at Gloucester's house that night time. Taking advantage of the arrival of the Duke and Regan, Edmund fakes an attack with the useful resource of Edgar, and Gloucester is truly taken in. He disinherits Edgar and declares him an outlaw. Bearing Lear's message to Regan, Kent meets Oswald once more at Gloucester's home, quarrels with him over again, and is located in the stocks via Regan and her husband Cornwall. When Lear arrives, the gadgets to the mistreatment of his messenger, but Regan is as dismissive of her father as Goneril changed into. Lear is enraged however impotent. Goneril arrives and supports Regan's argument in opposition to him. Lear yields definitely to his rage. He rushes out proper right into a storm to rant in opposition to his ungrateful daughters. Observed via manner of the mocking fool, Kent later follows to shield him. Gloucester protests in the direction of Lear's mistreatment. With Lear's retinue of 100 knights dissolved, the handiest companions he has left are his fool and Kent. Wandering on the heath after the hurricane, Edgar, in the guise of a madman named Tom O'Bedlam, meets Lear. Edgar babbles madly while Lear denounces his daughters. Kent leads all of them to shelter. Edmund betrays Gloucester to Cornwall, Regan and Goneril. He well-known shows evidence that his father is aware of a drawing close to French invasion designed to reinstate Lear to the throne, and in reality, a French army has landed in Britain. Once Edmund leaves with Goneril to warn Albany approximately the invasion, Gloucester is arrested, and Regan and Cornwall gouge out Gloucester's eyes. As he is doing so, a servant is overcome with rage with the beneficial resource of what he is witnessing and attacks Cornwall, mortally wounding him. Regan kills the servant, and tells Gloucester that Edmund betrayed him. Then she turns him out to wander the heath too. Edgar, in his madman's guise, meets his blinded father on the heath. Gloucester, now not recognizing him, begs Tom to manual him to a cliff at Dover just so he might also moreover leap to his lack of lifestyles. Goneril discovers that she finds Edmund greater appealing than her sincere husband Albany, whom she regards as cowardly. Albany has developed a feel of right and wrong. He's disgusted by the sisters' treatment of Lear and the mutilation of Gloucester, and denounces his spouse. Goneril sends Edmund lower return to Regan, receiving records of Cornwall's lack of lifestyles. She fears her newly widowed sister may moreover thieve Edmund and sends him a letter through Oswald. Now Kent leads Lear to the French navy. It is commanded with the aid of Cordelia, but Lear is one half of mad and extraordinarily embarrassed by using the manner of his earlier follies. At Regan's instigation, Albany joins his forces with hers towards the French. Goneril's suspicions approximately Regan's motives are showed and again, as Regan rightly guesses the which means thin of her letter and publicizes to Oswald that she is extra suitable in shape for Edmund. Edgar pretends to persuade Gloucester to a cliff, then modifications his voice and tells Gloucester he has miraculously survived a fantastic fall. Lear appears, with the resource of now virtually mad. He rants that the whole world wide is corrupt and runs off. Oswald seems, no matter the truth, that looking for Edmund. On Regan's orders, he tries to kill Gloucester but is killed through manner of Edgar. In Oswald's pocket, Edgar unearths Goneril's letter, wherein she encourages Edmund to kill her husband and take her as his spouse. Kent and Cordelia take raid of Lear, whose madness fast passes. Regan, Goneril, Albany, and Edmund meet with their forces. Albany insists that they fight the French invaders but now not harm Lear or Cordelia. The sisters lust for Edmund, who has made promises to each. He considers the dilemma and plots the deaths of Albany, Lear, and Cordelia. Edgar gives Goneril's letter to Albany. The armies meet in warfare. The British defeat the French, and Lear and Cordelia are captured. Edmund sends Lear and Cordelia off with secret joint orders from him and Goneril for the execution of Cordelia. The success British leaders meet, and the currently widowed Regan now declares she may be able to marry Edmund. But Albany exposes the intrigues of Edmund and Goneril and announces Edmund a traitor. Regan falls sick, having been poisoned with the aid of Goneril, and is escorted off stage, wherein she dies. Edmund defies Albany, who calls for a tribulation through combat. Edgar appears masked and in armor, and demanding situations Edmund to a duel. No one knows who he's. Edgar wounds Edmund fatally, despite the fact that he does no longer die right now. Albany confronts Goneril with the letter which have emerged as supposed to be his loss of life warrant. She flees in disgrace and rage. Edgar reveals himself, and critiques that Gloucester died off stage from the surprise and delight of studying that Edgar is alive, after Edgar observed himself to his father. Off stage, Goneril, with all her evil plans thwarted, commits suicide. The dying Edmund makes an expansion, even though he admits it's miles in the direction of his very personal person, to try and save Lear and Cordelia, but his confession comes too overdue. Soon after, Albany sends men to countermand Edmund's orders. Lear enters bearing Cordelia's corpse in his arms, having survived via killing the executioner. Kent seems and Lear now recognizes him. Albany urges Lear to resume his throne, but like Gloucester, the pains Lear has been through have sooner or later beaten him, and he dies. Albany then asks Kent and Edgar to take charge of the throne. Kent declines, explaining that his hold near is calling him on an adventure. Finally, Albany or Edgar implies that he'll now be king. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel English Grammar for you.